Yeah. Check, check. Yes. Check, check. 1, 2. Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect.
The process of recording music has changed a lot over the years, and I've seen the transformation of music from analog to digital. So I've been making music since the 1980s. I started off actually as a drummer, and then I learned how to play guitar, sing, and other instruments. And then I moved to New York City in the 80s and started studying music in music college. And then I did it there for 10 years as an independent music artist back when it cost thousands of dollars to make an album. You'd have to go into a recording studio, and it was all analog, all live instruments. It wasn't anything pre-recorded. Then I moved to Miami to get away from the music industry, and I started getting into salsa, and I was a salsa dancer for many years. And then I took a trip to Spain and fell in love with the flamenco guitar. And that's really how I started getting back into music. And this was back in 2005, I think it was, where I started to record music again, but this time as an instrumentalist. And since then, I've made several albums and music videos and been on the radio several times and started an indie music career based on just doing my own thing, just playing world music and combining my love of jazz and Latin jazz and R&B and rock and so many other genres, just trying to put something together that sounds different. How long you been doing this shit, dude?
In the industry, well, I was recording stuff in LA in the 90s, but here in Miami since '03. I am very blessed to be doing this. I thank God every day for it. You know, having a studio like this, it's amazing. It's a dream. Dream job, really. It doesn't feel like work, you know.
So when you first started in the industry doing recording, was it digital or were you still using analog equipment?
In California, it was analog. Yeah, I was on analog, you know, reel to reel and tape, you know, tape and stuff. But yeah, when I came to Miami, it was 100% digital, and with Pro Tools and everything.
Pro Tools, yeah.
Yeah, but then went from the digital thing. I had a digital board for about 10 years, and then got the opportunity to get into this studio, which you know, gave me the opportunity to have an SSL, which kind of makes it, you know, it's still digital with the Pro Tools and everything, but getting to use the SSL was another great blessing to be able to, like, you know, have that in my studio. This SSL here that used to be on the Johnny Carson show, basically. It
was on the Johnny Carson show.
I did not know that.
I did not know that. Matter of fact, I see it says NBC right there.
Right there, NBC.
Wow,
yeah.
So Johnny Carson himself and Ed McMahon.
Yep, so it's kind of cool. It's got a little history behind it.
That is too.
Yeah, man.
But the vintage stuff, do you go back to doing vintage once in a while? Is this just to like get that old feel?
If I have the opportunity, but it's mostly the Well, I just use a hybrid. You know, I've got my analog gear, and I use a hybrid of, you know, the analog that I have with the plugins, and I try to get like lots of, you know, saturation plugins that are analog modeling,
right?
You know, saturation plugins, and a lot of the universal audio stuff is really awesome. So, you know, they've come a long way. You can do quite a bit with the plugins. It's still not, you know, 100% there, but it's come a long way, and you can get a great sound, you know, just with the technology.
But you didn't start off as a recording engineer. You were a musician. You played piano, right?
I've been playing piano and singing since I was 6, you know, and then I was writing, trying to, you know, be an artist in the 90s and the early 2000s, and that 2000s. And then...
So let's take a look at some of the old equipment, the old vintage equipment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to see it just to get some perspective of history.
Well, you know, you have this this is from the 80s. I think it's like 1986, I think it is, or early 90s, I think. But pretty old. But it's got such a sound. It's got a great sound. and I think this is the oldest piece. That thing too, that Ultra Harmonizer, that Eventide is pretty old. And what else is old? That Lexicon I think is pretty old. Reverb unit. Do you want to go into
let's
check
go
out
the other
thing?
Check out the really old.
Check out the really old stuff. This is the live room of the Velvet Basement Studio. And this is where all the magic happens. That's what digital now tries to emulate.
Wow.
And does a pretty good job at it.
Look at those tapes. This thing hasn't been used in how long?
Probably a couple months. I mean, you still get some use out of it from some clients.
Evan, talk to me about how you got started in the music industry.
Oh, I started playing a music instrument when I was very young. Started as a kid in New York playing clarinet. My dad was a professional clarinet, sax, and flute player, and my brother played an instrument before. We moved down to Florida. I always wanted to play drums. My parents made me play clarinet. We moved to Florida. They let me switch to drums. I started taking, we found a private drum teacher, and I took private lessons in a music store with a drum teacher, and I worked to advanced band, and started later working at a music store where I've been managing, teaching, and went to music college and went to University of Miami, and I was teaching at high schools and, gigging and teaching kids and managing a retail store, so I became busy.
What do you think's going to happen with the music industry, with real musicians that know how to play instruments at a high level?
It's scary because there's always going to be, purists and people like me who went to college, who studied instruments, who are very organic in their studying and, very old school where, you study with somebody better. You study with a pro that's been there, done that, and, could teach you the ways. And today, it's very, there's no instant gratification. The digital world has made everything, so I can be on any kind of platform, not to, knock any of the platforms because they're cool for what they are, but it's instant gratification. I don't need to study with the drum teacher because I can put things together here and then this will quantize it. Or I don't need to study with some old man playing a trumpet, learn a B-flat scale, because I could just play it on the keys. This machine will tool it up for me, and really that will apply to any instrument. So where it's taken me and all of my friends and colleagues and students years and years and years and years, I'm still learning to learn and craft how to play what I play and everything that I play and learn everything else that I'm learning. People don't have that time and patience. It's like, I got to learn. I don't have time for that. I just want to do this now. So,
Right.
So it's scary. I think the future of musicians is there's going to be less and less pro musicians being able to make money.
My advice to young musicians, people that want to get into the music industry right now, is to learn how to play an instrument or two at a high level. And then learn the other aspects of the music industry. Learn how to do songwriting and arranging and producing and even a little bit of recording engineering, so you know the process itself, and you can either do it yourself or you can be an educated consumer when you go into a recording studio.